Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to a very different setup.
Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're just going to have a chat.
We're not going to try to be clear. We're going to talk to each other exactly as we would in a kitchen.
We've got a random question generator. We're going to ask each other some questions, have a bit of a chat, have a bit of a laugh.
Exactly, because so many of our students say, you are so clear when you teach me, but as soon as I try to listen to real people having a conversation, I don't understand it. So we're going to have a really real conversation, and we will, if we say anything a bit strange or a bit different, it will come up on the screen. I'll tell you what it means. And hopefully this will be a really good way for you to practice your listening. So we'll see you on the other side. Bez, how you been? How was your Christmas?
You were there. You were there the whole time.
Did you have a nice Christmas?
I had a lovely time.
What was your favourite bit about Christmas?
My favourite part about Christmas was...
Me being there.
Probably. Boxing Day. I liked Boxing Day. That was a good day.
What do you like about Boxing Day?
So it's like Christmas Day, but it's...
More football.
There's more football.
Exactly. I knew you were going to say that.
Played chess with your dad.
Did you win?
No. Oh, yes, I did. But it didn't feel like a win because he said he was only trying about 30%.
Oh.
So that was...
Do you think you'll ever beat him?
Genuinely, no.
Really?
I think he's very good.
But he'll just keep getting older and you've still got young, sharp
Well,
brain.
that's what I'm hoping for.
That's
Maybe,
right.
maybe when he's 90, I might beat him.
That's what you gotta wait for. We played chess a couple of times, didn't we? And I can, like... I know what the pieces do and I can put it in places, but I'm not very good at thinking far enough ahead to be like, okay.
You're getting better. I think the first time...
I do make some moves that make you think.
Make me think, but that's... Yeah,
that's a
I'd be
success
worried.
for me.
I'd be worried if you didn't make me think.
No, but that's a success for me, considering the only chess I've ever played was Simpsons chess
Yeah.
when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And Simpsons chess is not any different rules. It's still the same rules, but they all look like the Simpsons. So you had, like, Marge was the queen and Homer was the king. So I still don't know the names of the real chess pieces because I just call them
Neither do I, to be
Maggie's
honest.
and Bart's.
I played chess last night.
Did you?
Yeah.
With who?
With Harry.
On Xbox?
No, we finished playing Xbox and then...
Is it chess online or something?
Yeah, on Discord, there's like a chess thing now.
Did you win?
And I heard him clicking away. And we were like, what are you doing? This was at 1:45 in the morning. And then he said, I'm playing chess. And I joined. And I accidentally joined his game. And I played against him.
Did you
I
win?
won, yeah.
Of course you did. Well done. Well, should we do our first question?
Okay,
That's what it
fine.
is.
Let's have a look here. It's an interesting question, actually.
Lovely tea, by the way. I've recently started not having sugar in my tea. And I'm doing well with it, aren't I?
You do well with the coffee.
I don't want a coffee without sugar, but a tea, I'm still getting used to it. It's not my cup of tea.
It's not your cup of tea. It's mine.
This is my cup of tea, but it's not my cup of tea.
This is an interesting question.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to generate some random questions.
I've generated them.
And answer them. Okay, what's the first question? Hit me.
The first question is this. What doesn't exist but should?
Now you're good at this. You've got a whole list of inventions.
I know, yeah.
You love inventing.
That could take the whole time.
What
but
doesn't
for you,
exist
Laura.
but should? Well, I could be really like Miss World about it and say world peace. You know, like that. That's something that you could say.
Yeah, don't do that.
Okay, I would love. See, I always come across these things, but then I never remember what they are. Something that. Okay, I know what it is. Something that doesn't exist but should, and it might exist in some places. Rules in high schools of absolutely no phones ever for high school.
See, in my
kids.
school, we didn't have.
Yeah, but that was before they were so like all over the place.
But you in your school you could.
You're not in the classes. So in the classes you couldn't have your phones out, but at lunchtime you could do what you want. You could just have your phones out. But if I was sending my kids to school, because I don't want to give my kid a phone until they're about 15. But I don't want my kid in year 7 going to school and everyone's bullying them because they haven't got a phone. But if there was a rule of like you're not even allowed, if a teacher sees a phone, we're going to take it off you.
In my school that was it.
Well, that's what I want that to be in most schools then, because it wasn't in my one.
I remember I had my phone in my I remember I had my phone we weren't allowed to take it to school, and I never did because there was no point, because I could never go on it.
Yeah, that's no point.
But one day I did for some reason, and I panicked. I was like, what am I going to do with it? What am I doing? And it was in my pencil case in maths, and
what kind of a phone would fit in a pencil case?
No, it was one of those ones with the typey ones.
Oh, the teeny weeny ones. Yeah.
Not teeny
Not
weeny.
an iPhone.
Not an iPhone, yeah. And it had headphones plugged into it.
All right.
Right? So I had headphones plugged into it, as a phone does.
Yeah.
And then somehow music started playing through my head. So you know when you can hear someone else's headphones very, very quietly?
Yeah.
That's what happened. And the
what was playing?
I don't know, probably.
It's replay.
Maybe, something like that, yeah. And then I remember the maths teacher walking past, and I couldn't I didn't know it was mine either for a bit, but I was like, what's that? I can hear very, very faintly some music, and then he stopped next to my desk. Kind of looked down, and I looked up at him, and he moved on.
And he killed you.
I'm a ghost. So yeah, but that was very tense.
One of my biggest stresses for the future, and I stress a lot about the future because, you know, that's just who I am. But one of my biggest stresses is I have a certain way that I want to raise my children. I don't know why I'm thinking about this. Like, I'm only 25, but I know how I want to parent children. And one of the things that stresses me out the most is, like, I have a view on how they should use technology and stuff, but I don't know how possible that is once they leave my house. Do you know what I mean? And other kids.
Yeah. Well, a lot of parents say that, don't they? They say that kids, the worst thing that happens to your kids is like other kids.
I know.
Because they ruin it for you. Because you're raising your child in this perfect way, and then other children come in and ruin it.
Yeah,
but maybe,
exactly.
maybe that's
it's
good.
No, but then because the other option, people would say like, "Oh, homeschool your kids," but I don't want to homeschool my kids. I want my kids to have social skills. I'm not saying that all homeschool kids don't have social skills, but I think it's the easiest way to get social skills is by going to school, because and high school's hard and you have to go through difficult times, but that's also important. I don't know why I'm stressing about this now. I'm not having a baby.
So what should exist but that doesn't exist? No phones in schools.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay,
next one.
The next one is this. This is interesting. Okay. What's your opinion on tipping? As in tipping in restaurants, giving money.
I've got some big old opinions on tipping.
Interesting.
Because it's not a thing here, is it? In the UK,
it's
you
not.
get tipped if you give some exceptional service. You get
even
tipped.
then,
even then, you feel like okay.
But what is exceptional service?
I would say if there's a big group of you, if there's like more than 8, and they've been on time and everything's come and they've made sure that everyone's got what they need, because that's hard. Because I've been a waiter and it's really hard to have a big table. So I think if you have a big table, it's kind of courteous to give a tip. But I went to the States recently and it's mental. I went to a buffet and it's a buffet. The concept of a buffet is you serve yourself.
Oh, you had to tip in a buffet.
I had to tip the person who literally took my card at the till. So you're queuing up, someone sat at the till, and they go, "That'll be $30 for the buffet." And I said, "Thank you very much," handed my card over. And then she said, "You can add your tip now?" And I said, "Can I?" Because I didn't.
Did you?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
No, and I know that all those Americans hated me, but it's just mental. I'm literally at a buffet, I do the work myself, and they want me to tip. But they have to, because they pay American servers like pittance. They pay them so little because they know they're going to get loads of tips. Isn't that mental?
But do they get loads of tips?
Yeah, because Americans have such a tipping culture put into them because they know that the servers don't get a lot, so they have to, otherwise it's really...
But if they paid them fairly, then people wouldn't have to tip.
I know.
And then that would help people... They would go out for food more because they would be less expensive.
I know. Isn't that insane?
They're basically putting the financial stress on the customers rather than on themselves by paying the staff fairly.
Yeah. Exactly. Isn't that just awful?
In other countries, do they have that in other countries?
I don't know about other countries. I think America is... Sorry, the States. I think the States are the biggest sort of tippers. In the UK... don't have to worry about tipping at all. But I follow someone who lives in Las Vegas and they work on Instagram who works as a waiter, and over Christmas he was taking pictures of bills, like checks that he'd given people when they'd left no tip, and was writing like Merry Christmas. Oh, I can't believe I had customers like this, like really complaining about it. And I was like, that was me when I was there. I wasn't leaving any tips.
In my opinion, I think I agree with you if it's exceptional, but I don't know what people would have to do that. Like to achieve exceptional service. I don't know what they would have to do. If the can you give me a situation?
We're eating somewhere and the waiter's being extra friendly, asking us how our day's gone, and something's gone wrong with the food, but they've been really apologetic. They said, "Oh, we'll get you a free drink," but the waiter's been really trying to...
But then the waiter, that's their job.
I know.
That's their job.
We have very different views in the UK about how to tip things, so...
Like
I would say
if somebody gives if they say you can have a free drink, a drink on the house, as they say, then that's not the waiter doing that.
No,
that's the boss telling the waiter offer them free drinks.
Yeah.
So it's
no, you're right. I think I tip for 5% of my meals out.
Probably, yeah. I would round it up. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So imagine it's £73 for food.
Yeah.
I maybe will round it up to 80, depending on how many drinks I've had. And I feel very generous. But usually, I don't tip. Because it's expensive already.
It is already expensive.
Do you want the next question?
Yes, please.
Oh, this is an interesting one. What food did you used to like but don't anymore?
Bacon.
Yeah, bacon.
Gone well off bacon. Don't know why. I think I had a really bad fatty bacon sandwich.
And I know the bacon sandwich you're talking about. And at the time, you said it was lovely.
No.
Yeah, you did.
No, the bacon itself was nice.
It was a bit wet.
Is a bit wet, and that's what I like. Bacon, unless it's burnt, I don't like it. I don't like floppy, fatty bacon. It really it put me off it a lot. So I've gone off bacon a lot.
I could never eat bacon again.
Same.
I like it though, but I think that's a reflection on me because I'm not a food person.
In general.
I'm not a food person.
Could live without food.
Cheese I couldn't live without.
You're not a food person, you're a cheese person.
Cheese guy. What's a food that I used to like but don't anymore?
That's rare for you. If you like
probably,
food, you're loyal.
do you know what? Probably I've gone off soups.
You have soup every day.
No. As in, so I like tomato soup. I've gone off like meaty soups. I used to, any soup, I could have it. Like in a restaurant, soup of the day. Did they have that in other countries?
Yeah, soup of the day.
Okay, so the soup of the day.
Yeah.
I used to think, whatever the soup of the day is, I will have it.
Yeah.
Because usually you have to ask, what's the soup of the day? Well, it's this.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like I'm getting more picky with my soups.
That sounds like a 1975 album name.
Yeah, it does.
I feel like I'm getting more picky with my soups.
I'm more picky with your soups. I used to order soup, now I don't. I go to restaurants and now I sit there.
But I don't tip.
Yeah.
No.
This is a big question. Do you want a deep question?
Yeah, sure, I'd love one.
I feel like crying reading this question
Go
out.
for it. Hit me.
What are you currently doubting in your life? Wow.
What am I doubting? School systems. I'm back to schools, doubting the school system a lot.
Yes. In your life, though. You're done with school.
But for my children. For my future children that I'm so worried about.
Oh, forget about the children, Laura.
Okay, I'm doubting the school system.
Yeah. Something in your life, Laura.
In my life. I don't know.
Not much.
No. Doubting...
How much you spend on stuff?
What are you trying to say?
I don't know. We're going shopping after this.
Yeah. No, I feel pretty secure. I'm the kind of person, though, if I doubt something... or if I have any kind of issue with something, I try to fix it straight away. So if I was doubting my fitness, I'd be on it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I thought, or I went up the stairs and I was out of breath, I'd be like, right, okay, we exercise then. If I thought, I'm doubting my abilities, okay, well, I'm going to get better then, I'll practice. So I like to fix things. I don't like just to go, well, and that's it. I like to go, no, let's solve it. So I can't imagine I would sit in doubt for a long time.
Probably not. For me, I don't.
If I was doubting like relationships with people, I'd go, well, okay, I'll talk to them.
I'll talk to them. I'll fix it.
So I don't think I don't like to sit in negativity for a while. I fix it.
Do you?
I try to.
You try to, but I feel like that stresses you out more sometimes. Yeah.
Deep.
In the search for perfection, you dig your hole deeper.
Ooh.
Do you know what I mean?
That sounds like a 1975 album.
It does a bit, yeah. Dig, 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 dig.
What's the next?
Should we have one more question? I don't know how long we've been talking for.
I don't know either. Let's do 2 more.
Let's do 2 more questions. This is an interesting one.
Okay.
What app or website completely changed your life?
Google. YouTube.
But
YouTube.
Yeah.
Changed my life.
Yeah.
I would say, because it has changed.
I think YouTube's
how I
the
live
part
my life.
of your life.
Yeah, exactly. YouTube.
Not Facebook.
Has it changed?
No, I don't think it changed my life.
It might have changed my brain. We don't know. When we look ahead in future years, we might look back at how much of an impact Facebook had on our brains, and we might say, yeah, it did change me completely, and I would have been a different human if it weren't for social media. We don't know.
Definitely. I think certainly. That's too big. You can't say, like, how much do you spend on social media every week?
Yeah. It's going to have an impact.
Let's imagine it's probably more than this, 15 hours, which is horrible,
that, yeah.
right? But if it's more than that, you can't say to somebody, something you do 15 hours minimum a week, if you get rid of that, has no impact on you, and you'd be absolutely fine. No. Like, you would be a completely different person if you put 15 hours a week into exercise than social media.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I don't think with social media, I go on social media all the time as well. I'm a hypocrite here.
Yeah.
But there's nothing. I think there's social media should be the last thing that you do. Everything else is more productive than going on social media. Cleaning the house, reading a book, talking to a friend, going for a walk,
eating a meaty soup,
maybe eating a meaty soup, recording a podcast, anything.
I agree. Yeah.
Can you name me one thing that social media is more productive than?
Doing drugs.
Yeah.
I have to think.
Yeah.
It's more productive than anything else that's more destructive. You know what I mean? So like jumping off a cliff. Yeah.
Well,
do you know what I mean? Yeah, but drugs is very destructive to you. So yeah, I get what you mean. Like,
destructive. Yeah,
you're
gonna die.
There are always things
if you jump off a cliff, you die.
More that you. Yeah, I know what you mean.
You're saying dying is less productive than social media, and that's it. And that's what we spend. That's what we spend 15 hours a week minimum on.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's what the world is now. Like it's
what do you do to manage your social media
time?
Can I say what I've done?
What have you done?
I've unfollowed a lot of people.
Well done.
Sorry. I've unfollowed a lot of people
who don't serve you.
Even people who do.
Even my friends, my close family and friends.
Some of them, yeah, because I realise how much I just go on it, and I'm just trying to make Instagram, for example, less and less appealing. I don't want Instagram to be appealing. Do you know what I mean? Because if it is, then I will want to go on it more. Like my Twitter, I follow a lot of football accounts who just talk about football, right? Yeah, I do. I've unfollowed a lot of them. And that's bad for me, because I'm they're accounts that I like to read about. Yeah. But by following them, I'm giving myself more of a reason to go on Twitter.
True.
So I'm trying to just make it more boring, if anything.
I don't think it's a bad thing if you don't have anything else to do. Like, I don't think if you're sat waiting for a train and you've got nothing...
I do. Because those are the experiences in the world. When we sat at a train station, you can sit there and you can watch people...
do it for like 10 minutes, but then I also want to have the option of I don't have to sit... Because remember before we did have that option, you hated it. When you were a kid and you had nothing to do and you were just sat in a car for like 5 hours going somewhere, you hated it.
No, but at the time the radio was there. Good old radio.
I think it's okay as long as it's not taking... If you're prioritising it over something else...
What annoys me is when people go on it in front of other people.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That annoys me.
Yeah, I know.
It really annoys me. And I don't like that people think that I'm boring by saying that.
No, I don't think people think you're boring. I think they probably just think you're being a bit of a granddad.
Yeah, but why?
I know.
Because I want to spend time with my friends and family.
Well, people don't want to admit that they're being on it.
Yeah. And in the future, there will be some etiquette, probably, where people will say, oh yeah, going on your phone in front of people is rude.
Well, it already is.
It already is, but it will become...
It's still so new, and people are still so getting used to it, and humans are still getting used to the fact that we have this thing in our hands and we're just excited to use it. You've given this race of monkeys these, crazy things, and we're still going, oh, no. We will get to a point where we're bored with them. We'll be like,
Sometimes... I think sometimes I look around and people are on their phones and I'm like, oh, that's really annoying. But then I think, if they were all reading books, is that any different? Because we're not talking to each other anyway still. Yeah. Or if we're all watching the TV, we're not talking to each other, we're just watching the TV. So how is this different?
If phones and books had never been invented and you gave the human race books, we'd be doing exactly the same thing. You'd see everyone just because it's anything that's new, we just want to digest it. And I promise you there'll be a revolution at some point. Not a revolution, but maybe I think our generation, or maybe Gen Z, maybe not Gen Z, they love it. But one of the generations is going to decide, I can't do this anymore. And people are going to start buying old. There's going to be this need for these retro, just texty phones, no touchscreen, no anything. Because people will realise they want to detach, man. Just unplug. They'll get all hippie again. We're going to have another 70s hippie movement. You watch.
I agree.
Big call.
I completely agree. Last question here is this. Well, one question here is, what do you spend too much time doing? Yeah, we know that. What about...
Give us a good one to end on.
This one's an interesting... Go on, you pick one. You pick one from there. Have a look.
What are the top 3 characteristics you feel are important for a person in general? Just a person. I'll choose one, you choose one, then we'll agree on one. Okay. I think decency.
What do you mean by that?
No, not decency, sorry. Common sense. Because I think that can be the same. Common sense, I think, is vital. Too many people lack common sense.
Can you give me an example?
Just being able to... can I change it again?
Oh.
Can I change it again?
Go on.
I mean, common sense, decency, but I think what I mean is critical thinking. I think being able to think about something and not just go, okay. Because people who just hear something and just go, yeah, those are the people that mean, nasty people can control and manipulate. So, if everyone just hears something and goes, yeah, I believe that, without taking the time to research and think, oh, is it this? Is it this? Is it this? It means you can control and manipulate that people. Whereas if everyone was able to look through these lies and look through things, then horrible people wouldn't rise to power as easily.
Yeah, we're definitely living through a time where lots of people are like that now.
Exactly.
Probably because of phones.
Exactly. So people on Facebook, and they see a headline that says there's been a big argument between these two people, and they just read that and go, okay, yeah.
And they
click on it.
They scroll to they just scroll to the next thing.
Yeah.
And all they remember is
there was an argument.
Big argument.
Yeah, but then if they actually clicked on it, it would say something like, someone has reported that this person left the room a bit earlier than the other person. It's just nothing, based off nothing, where they're not doing that critical. So I think critical thinking, that's my vote.
Critical thinking, that's a good one. And also with that, what people would in the past would do is they would read a newspaper, for example. They see something, maybe they read the whole article, but even if they don't, they probably did read the whole article. Yeah. They read the whole article, and then they are sitting at the train station with nothing to do. And what do? They start thinking about things. And they start thinking, how do I feel about that story, that news story, blah blah blah.
True.
But now we don't give ourselves time to think about how we feel. This is really deep. We don't have enough time anymore to think about how we feel about things. We just get given information and think
out. Yeah. All about. Yeah, exactly.
Do the hokey cokey and you turn
So
around.
that's, if we're designing the perfect human, I say they need to have some critical thinking. What else do they need to have?
What's the word when you care about other people?
Empathy.
Oh, empathy. Empathy is massive. Yeah. So
critical thinking and empathy. What
so, for example, empathy. Can you give me an example of empathy? So, for example, somebody's
knowing how to act around
somebody's cat has died.
Yeah.
They come to your house, and you want to buy a cat, but these people are at your house who their cat just died. R.I.P.
R.I.P. Whiskers.
Somebody empathetic, would not talk about getting a cat in front of that person.
I mean, that's on like a small scale, but think about it on a big scale. Think about like someone wants to do evil deeds, but then they just have that thing of, how would I feel if that was being done to me? Do you know
Robbers,
what I mean? It could stop.
How would I feel if somebody robbed my house?
Exactly. If your empathy like is so strong, then it will stop a lot of bad things from happening, because people just can't bring themselves to do evil stuff. So critical thinking, empathy. What else for like a good? It's really good for a good person. I'm thinking about who I'd like to be friends with.
I was going to say patient, but not. I think
that comes with empathy, because I don't
think patience is that important either. Because sometimes it's good to be impatient. Just do something.
What about
passion, care?
Passion's good.
Like passionate about
for something. Yeah.
Because what really annoys me is when you ask people, "What's your favourite film?" and they say, "I don't really have a favourite film."
And you say, "What's your favourite song?" Don't really have one. What's your favourite food? Don't really have one. What's your hobbies?
They say,
really
whatever's on the radio, whatever.
People who aren't passionate about anything is very frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, choose something, even if it's like cake. Just be passionate about something. Do you know what I mean?
But sometimes I feel like people are, but they think. So, for example, maybe they're embarrassed about their favourite film, or they think this is their favourite film, but they don't love it that much. It's like, well, maybe that is still your favourite film, even though you don't love that film. Maybe it's your favourite.
So someone who is passionate, empathetic, and has good critical thinking. What a great human.
I think we've... Yeah, probably.
I think
the quietest high five.
Yeah, because in front of the mic. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed discussing this with you today. Do you have anything else you want to say before we go?
Not really. We're going to go shopping in a bit. I'm so excited.
You need to buy some waterproof shoes.
I'm going to buy it.
We are so cool.
Yeah. Going to buy some waterproof shoes in the January sales.
Should I buy some slippers as well?
I do have slippers in my calendar to maybe buy.
You've put in your calendar that you want to buy some slippers?
Yeah. Because what would you do? You would put it in a list, would you?
Yeah.
Shopping list.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm just putting it in exactly the same place as my sort of shopping centre, waterproof shoes plus slippers. That's in my calendar.
You are adorable.
There you go. Awesome. And then we're going to go and see Matilda.
Yes, we are. Thank you so much for joining us. I've been very sat back. I hope I've been in frame. I'm sure I have been. I'm sure I've been. I'll be fine. Thank you so much.
I really hope you are.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next time.
Bye-bye.